Hey everybody, Lance from Permanent Records back here with another hot take video. This is kind of a follow-up to the last one I did about whether you should take your records and sell them online or try to open up your own record store. This particular video is kind of honing in on the question of, do you have what it takes to start your own record store and to keep it going and be successful? Before I get into my thoughts on that matter, I'd like to ask you please to subscribe to this channel, to like this video, ring the bell, shoot me a comment, however you do it, and so we can stay in touch and keep the discourse going. I do my best to reply to all the comments, and I'd like to stay in touch with y'all, and I'd like for you to see the next video I do. So, here we go. But before I get into the heart of the matter here, I'd like to share with you a reissue that I did with Riding Easy Records. I did the A&R work on this bad boy. Check out that cool translucent kind of, I don't even know, what's the word for that? I knew the word for that before I started this video, but maybe it'll come to me. Anyway, we're always doing fun colored vinyl variants on the Riding Easy Records releases that I do the A&R work for. As you can see, this is the Backjack LP. So Backjack was a hard rock band from Missouri, my home state, from the early 70s. And they self-released one single called Bridgewater's Dynamite. That track's included here. And then they also recorded a whole bunch of other material that was never released. So when I contacted them to license Bridgewater's Dynamite for Brown Acid, they shared with us the tapes and we pressed them to vinyl. And you can get that logo from their promo flyer on a t-shirt at writingeasyrecords.com or Writing Easy Recs, I think. That's not my website. I work with Daniel. I have my own website where I sell these records. As the curator, I get paid in records, so you can buy these from me. I almost always have everything that I work on in stock, and I'd appreciate your support on that and other releases like this beautiful, also orange, different colored orange. So another offshoot of the Backjack project, and one thing that came out of licensing the material for the Backjack reissue is this unreleased LP by Parchment Farm. These guys were from the same part of Missouri, just outside of St. Louis, and they self-recorded and never released this full LP's worth of material. Both of these records are streaming on all the digital streaming platforms if you'd like to preview them before you buy them, and they're also both available now at Permanent Records and permanentrecordsla.com online. It's easy to find us on the internet. All right, so back to the question at hand. Should I start my own record store? We kind of already talked about that in the last video. And if you haven't watched that video yet, please go back and check it out. Do I have what it takes to own my own record store? That's what we're here to talk about today. That's what I'm here to share my 18 years of experience with you on that particular subject. So just to reiterate, just like I did in the last video, I'm using this particular topic in this video to share a record collection that we just recently bought. It's a whole bunch, mostly a whole bunch of audiophile grade, mastered by Kevin Gray and Steve Hoffman, 45 RPM Music Matter Blue Note reissues. This is classic jazz stuff, a lot of hard bop, amazing jazz records in this collection. And anyway, these are going out in the store soon, and you can see them go out for sale or be offered first in many cases at permanentrecordsla.com on Instagram, where we sell records 7 nights a week, usually around 5 p.m. or so Pacific time is when we start offering up 60 to 80 records an evening. And yeah, these will be going out soon. And that's what I'm talking about. So first and foremost, do you have what it takes to own your own record store, or should you look for another workout? First and foremost, as I said, you need knowledge, not only about records and music that you like, but also about records and music that you dislike. And you also need to know and have a solid base of knowledge about what it takes to run a business in general. I didn't mean to do this, but I ended up getting a business degree, a business management degree from the University of Missouri. I don't think that that gave me all the knowledge that I needed to run a record store, and there were plenty of idle moments during my education where I was not studying, so I missed some things for sure. And also, when you're learning how to manage a business, you're not really in college for the most part, not in my experience anyway, learning about how to run a used record store. You're learning how to manage a corporate business, like the most common type of business that most people are going to get into after they get their degree, right? Well, somebody told me once that the most valuable, I wish I could remember who told me this, but somebody told me that the most valuable thing you can have in life is experience. And I think that definitely applies to owning your own business. If you want to start a business of any type, I highly recommend not just saying open sesame and getting some experience in the business. Go work for somebody else in that field and learn the ins and outs of the business, so you're not just hooting and tooting thinking you know what you're talking about when you actually don't. And yeah, just like anything, if you don't know what you're doing, you're doomed to fail. So learn it from the pro, get to the genesis, and if then after having worked in the industry for a while and you still want to do the catwalk, then go ahead. All right, because as you know, a bird in the hand is worth two in the bush. Secondarily, once you've got the knowledge and you feel comfortable about your abilities and your knowledge about records and music, both, like I said, things that you already like and things that you don't particularly care for, because it's not just about what you like in a retail setting in a record store. You have to know about what your customers are going to come in looking for, and you have to be knowledgeable about the things they're going to ask you about. So you have to have a very vast knowledge of things of all different types, and not everybody likes everything. I have a very eclectic tastes. I like a lot of different types of things, and that has mostly come from having a record store for 18 years. I've learned to like things that I definitely didn't when I was younger, and I've also fallen out of love with some of the records that I really enjoyed as a younger person. So it goes. When you're in flight, things change, of course. So that shouldn't keep you from trying to be the brightest star that you can be. And in addition to the knowledge that I already mentioned, one other flight up that you should work on is having connections. You need to have a network of sources for not only goods, but for information. So if you're gonna open a used record store, for instance, new record stores are easy. All you gotta do is get around and open accounts with distributors and so forth, get a business license, a reseller's permit, etc. And you'll be doing all right selling primarily new records. But in order to get a solid base and have a constant flow of good used records, you really need to have a swing and a fare as far as your network is concerned, and have a lot of good connections, so that when your opener day comes, you're fully stocked and ready to restock immediately once you get hit, because that first round of records is gonna go quick. Okay, so and you need something else. You need is a solid solid connections for information. So not everybody is the amazing Bud Powell and knows everything there is to know about everything. But one thing you can do to beat that is to rely on other very knowledgeable people about things like the big beat, if you're not already familiar with it, and have them teach you, like someone in love, about the things you don't know anything about. And you can help them in turn to be indestructible as a unit. So that's another thing. Have the connections for the goods and the knowledge that you're gonna need, because you're gonna need a lot of goods and a lot of knowledge as a record store owner. Personality, that's really important, right? Yeah, you have to have the right kind of personality to be a record store owner. I already made a video about like the high fidelity mentality and record store snobs. The world does not need any more of that. So just take my message and maybe spend a night in Tunisia. And yeah, be friendly and warm and be able to have a normal conversation with people, because you're going to get people in your store that are not necessarily deep record heads or maybe don't care about the kind of stuff that you care about. So you have to be friendly with people. You have to listen to what they want to talk about, even if that's not what you want to talk about. And you have to be warm and kind and treat other people like you'd want to be treated, you know? So, all right, we're getting out of the Blue Note world and into, well, there's some other jazz records in here as well, but into the mostly non-Blue Note reissue part of this collection that we just bought. Again, these records aren't available for sale in the store as of the release of this video, not because I've been relaxing, but because we have a ton more records before we get to the Shape of Jazz to come into the bins. So personality, be friendly, warm, and not a, you know, free resource of conversation. You also have to be able to cut people off so that you can get work done and be productive. Do not take time further out from what you're there to do just to bullshit with people, pardon my French, about this, that, and the other thing. You are at work whether you own that business or not, and it's important for you to get 4 and more all the time. You have to constantly be productive and keep that intensity going so that your business will be profitable. Do not allow the fact that you are going to be people's captive audience to keep you from getting your work done. So, okay. Fourthly, speak of the devil, discipline. You really have to be disciplined. You have to stay focused and you have to stay persistent and say, yes, we can every day when it comes to going into work, so that you don't end up blue at midnight every night because you didn't get anything done that day. This Hypnotic Brass Ensemble record is absolutely stunning, by the way. Just to stop here real quick, this is a crew of a bunch of brothers. They are all sons of Phil Coran. They are all playing brass instruments, and this is instrumental jazz, super funky jazz stuff that could very easily have been sampled for hip-hop joints. So that's what that is. Anyway, you have to stay focused, persistent. Do not think that you are going to get into the business of owning a record store and just sit around in a silent way, listening to records, reading books and magazines about music, drawing sketches of Spain, and sketches in Spain. and just waiting for those milestones to come up. It's hard work. It's very hard work owning your own business. It's especially hard work owning your own record store. You will not just be safe at home all day with Graham Parsons on, I'm guessing, white vinyl. Oh, black vinyl. You will have 96 tears every day if you think that you're just gonna sit around and wait for records and customers to come to you. You have to get up, get out there, and make it happen. It's not an easy thing to just have guitars, Cadillacs, etc. on the Oak record label. That's the one you're looking for if you want that one, not the Reprise label. So yeah, here in the real world, you have to listen to what I'm saying and know all about all sorts of different things. And oh, mercy. You gotta get after it every single day. You gotta hustle, because London will come calling. And there's a whole love, that doesn't make any sense, of people out there just waiting for you to provide for them what they're looking for in an independent record store, whether it be new, used, etc. All right, I'm gonna turn and burn now. Let's get quick. Before we're speaking in tongues, you also have to have resources. You gotta keep your eyes open for all potential forms of resources. You can't just swim around the fish tank and pretend to be a soldier of love. You can't pay the bills with love. You gotta have money to live that diamond life. Or unless you hang with Muswell hillbillies, maybe it's a little different. The government mule will be after you if you do not pay your taxes and operate your business properly. And you have to have resources. You got to have financial resources, so you're not telling weird tales about how you were taken down by the old mainstream in the record world. The Black Crows will come get you if you don't have enough financial resources and backing to afford your rent and all the other expenses that are going to come along, whether you're living in Zuma, in Malibu, or in the psychedelic jungle. So that's it, pretty much, I guess. You know, I'm not trying to, I don't have a YouTube channel to keep it hid. I'm here to share information and also show the records that we just recently bought, because I'm a salt of the earth kind of guy. And again, not trying to stay below the undercurrent. When in Rome, follow my advice. Get up early in the AM. Get after it. You gotta hustle, like I said, for those guitars, Cadillacs, etc. And if you follow my advice, you will be perfect from now on. But the final straw is that if you are not down and you just want to do little, then opening your own record store is not a good idea, Pilgrim. That has been a hot take and a show and tell about a new record collection that we just acquired. Thanks to my buddy Steven Glasgow out there for selling us these records. Yeah, it's been a pleasure doing business with him, and we hope to do business with you in the very near future. If you have a record collection for sale and or you need more advice about opening a record store of your own, feel free to drop us a line at permanentrecordsla.com. Until then, cheers.